Hello, my name is Laura Linnemeyer, and this is your defensive driving training. So, as you plan your trips, especially over routes you use repeatedly, like trips to day program or to family members' homes, think about where the dangers are along the way. If you think ahead and minimize your risk by making better choices, that is a good way to drive defensively. A lot of collisions are preventable. A preventable collision is one where the driver does everything that they can to avoid the collision. And this might mean making the choice to stay home. In bad weather, we may need to discuss the safety of making a trip, and we might need to cancel appointments or activities. There are three main causes of collisions: the driver, the vehicle, and the conditions of the road or the weather. You only need one of these situations for an accident to occur. Make sure you're staying alert when you're driving, especially when we're driving the vans with the people that we serve inside. Paying attention makes it possible for you to see, recognize, and avoid hazards on the road. Those are the three basic elements of defensive driving. We are probably aware that it's against the law to use devices while driving. Hands free doesn't necessarily mean distraction free, though. We also should not be using voice commands or single touch, and single touch only uses all that's permitted. We shouldn't be live streaming, Snapchatting, gaming, looking at videos, or any of those other things that are so tempting to do, but that we need to stay away from when we're driving the vans. Many accidents occur close to home. We don't consider the seriousness or fatal injuries that can occur in low speed collisions. Sometimes, when we get comfortable and we're driving close to our house or in a familiar neighborhood, we let our guard down. Unfortunately, the people who live nearby do the same thing, and serious collisions can happen at low speeds. Make safe driving a habit. Paying attention can become a habit, but you have to work at it. Driving is the most dangerous thing that most of us ever do, and it deserves our full attention. Make conscious choices not to do things that are distracting and to make safety a priority. Reduce distractions that take your attention off your driving path. Impaired driving is a very common element of accidents. The dictionary describes impaired as making something worse, less, weaker, or damaged. There's many things that can cause driving impairment. Applied to driving, impairment means that there's a factor present that decreases your ability to operate the vehicle safely. It can cause reaction times to double. That means that if you're driving 70 miles per hour, you could drive an additional 103 feet before you're able to react to something in the road. One of the more commonly known impairments while driving is alcohol. It acts as a depression, and so it diminishes a person's ability to react after even the first sip. Many people don't realize that even at very low blood alcohol levels, way before reaching a legal limit, impairment is occurring. Another impairment is medication, and even some prescription medication. Some prescription medications have labels that advise you not to operate heavy machinery until you know how it affects you. And an example of a heavy machine is a van or a car. Even over the counter medications can have side effects. We have the obligation to make sure we're driving safely whenever we're operating our vehicles. So be aware of how the medication that you're taking can affect your driving. Does your driver's license state that you need glasses or contacts to drive? If it does, you need to be wearing them while driving at all times. If you are not wearing them, this counts as impaired driving. You need to create space between you and the next vehicle when you're driving the van. Don't drive too closely and practice the 3-second rule. That means locating a landmark along the side of the road, and as you count to 3, that means there's enough space between you and that landmark. You will want to add time for each condition also that could affect your ability to stop. This could be the road or weather conditions as well as tires or brakes on your vehicle. Watch out for weavers on the road or people that change from one lane to the other. You'll need to adjust for them. Some drivers habitually change lanes without checking their blind spots for other vehicles. Make sure you're adjusting your side mirrors to be aware of blind spots in your van. It could be that the person before you was a different height and so had the mirror adjusted for their height, and you need to make sure to change it for yours. The only set of eyes that you can count on are your own. It's a good idea to adjust your position relative to other traffic to stay out of the other driver's blind spots whenever you can. The classic one car crash results when a vehicle does a slow drive to the left and hits the dirt, or maybe the rumble strips on the right shoulder of the road. Then the driver gets alert, overreacts, and jerks the wheel to the left to bring the vehicle back on the road. Unfortunately, that jerk to the left causes the front left tire to strike the raised edge of the pavement at a really sharp angle, and that causes a rollover or a swerve into oncoming lanes to the left. Statistics show that the collisions that kill most of us than any other collision is a single vehicle off the road collision. Overcorrection means that you have pulled the steering wheel too hard, and this is going to cause the car to come out of control. We must be aware of the conditions of the road and to slow down for them. We have precious cargo when we drive our vans, and so poor weather conditions should cause us to be extra alert and extra careful while we're driving. There are two common types of skids. In order to avoid skids, plan ahead, watch carefully, and slow down. Fishtailing occurs when your front wheels are taking a shorter path than desired, and the rear end brakes loosens and fishtails, causing the back of your vehicle to swerve. Plowing occurs when you have too much steering input for the power you're applying, and there's too sharp an angle between the tires and the direction of motion, and the front wheels skid ahead as a result. Keeping control of your vehicle and being aware of conditions is going to reduce the risk of skids while driving. You might be surprised to learn that over 500,000 car and animal collisions occur every year. It's really important to slow down at night so that you're able to stop or make last-second maneuvers within your well-lighted visual range. Over 90% of these kinds of accidents happen at night, and many happen near dusk or dawn. Use your high beams whenever you can. They're more likely to cause a reflection in the animal's eyes that you can see, which will help you to avoid the animal. Avoid the urge to seize opportunities to fill a hole in traffic or to take advantage of a gap in traffic. We want to make sure we're leaving plenty of driving space. Without a doubt, seatbelts are the most significant safety device ever invented. They do several things for you. They provide impact protection, they absorb crash forces, and they keep you from being thrown out of the vehicle. It's also important to know that if you're involved in a crash without belts, you may be held partially responsible for your own injuries, even if the other person is at fault in the crash. Make sure you're following the rules of the road. Traffic rules are in place to create consistency and uniformity that allows us to predict what the other person's going to do. The traffic rules also help us to avoid conflict and collisions. Sloppy driving creates risk. Ignoring the rules of the road helps create chaos that you see every day. So drive precisely, follow the rules, and watch out for other drivers.